sentiments of the people.
Garo Hills region remains on the boil following the death of 2 civilians in violent clashes that began on the 9th of March 2026. The violence erupted when the non-tribal aspirant former MLA and MDC SG Esmatur Mominin arrived at the Deputy Commissioner's office in Tura on Monday to submit his nomination. A protesting crowd assaulted him, promoting immediate intervention by the police and security personnel. The root of the controversy lies in a notification issued by the Garo Hills Autonomous District Council on February the 17th this year, mandating that candidates contesting the GHADC elections must produce a scheduled tribe certificate issued by the Meghalaya government. The council argued that the requirement is necessary to safeguard the customary laws, traditions and socio-political identity of the indigenous tribal communities of the Garo Hills under the 6th schedule of the Constitution. Amidst the demand for barring non-tribal candidates for the upcoming election to the GHADC, the Meghalaya High Court has on March 11th passed an order that would pave the way for non-tribal candidates to contest the polls. On this edition of Straight Talk, we will look into the legal and constitutional aspect of the participation of non-tribals in the District Council elections. We will dwell on the key provisions under the Assam and Meghalaya Autonomous Districts Constitution of District Councils Rules 1951. And we will also try to understand the impact of the ongoing tensions in the Garo Hills on the rest of the state, including the GHADC's neighbouring councils, the Khasi Hills Autonomous District Council and the JHADC. I'm Aaron Lingdo. It's time to meet my guests. First up, I'd like to introduce guests who are here with me in the studio. I begin with VGK Kinta, who is a senior advocate. He's been on Street Talk before as well. I'd also like to welcome Ba Roy Kupar Sindram, who's the president, Hinyotreb Youth Council, and the chairman of the Confederation of Meghalaya Social Organizations, or COMSO. Joining me on the broadcast is Pinchingan Lang Ens Aim, who is the former KHADC CEM. I also have Ba Thomas Pasa, who is the working president of the Khon Hinyotrep National Awakening Movement, or KNAM. And I'd also like to introduce our final guest on this edition of Straight Talk, Mr. Bernard N. Marak, who is the vice president BJP Meghalaya and Tura MDC. I welcome all of you gentlemen to the broadcast at the moment. I'd like to go to Mr. Marak first, who's joining us from Tura, as I mentioned. As you heard, Mr. Marak, in my opening, the order that was passed on March 11th by the Meghalaya High Court has quashed and set aside the notification issued by the Executive Committee of the GHADC on February 17th that mandated production of your scheduled tribe certificate by prospective candidates for the GHADC polls, paving the way for non-tribals, of course, to contest the election. Let's begin with your opening comments.
Yes, the Honorable High Court has actually decided and passed not this, but passed by the Executive Committee. But if you look into that the judgment order, actually there's a new provision where we can frame the amend the rules because it has been integrated and it has the policy has been foreseen that the benefit of facilitating the general concept. In the Rule 8 is up to can like a person can contest if he can. So that is in Rule 8, which has noted by the Honorable High Court, Para 13. So, in Para 123, also same order, the required amendment has to be there because in Para 128, Para 3, it mentions about is the who can vote, who can give a person who is a permanent resident with fixed and permanent citizen can vote. Whereas in Garo Hills, the fact is that most of these settlers in the plan area wants to contest district council are have been residing there through a Atta which is valid for only 10 years. But in Rule 128, Para 3, it is mentioned that a person has to settle for 12 years. So those things has also been noted by the Honorable Court. And in Para 13, you'll find that necessary amendment has to be there. Whereas this notification, which has been set aside, is just the first stage because the executive committee has to, this is the proposal which has to be presented in the House. And when it is presented in the House, the court also suggests that Para 8 and Para 128 has also to be amended. So this is not the end of the this movement because making ST certificate mandatory in the nomination is just the first step because the executive committee has taken a decision. Now it has to be placed in the House and then it has to be forwarded for the governor's office. So that is where the court has taken the document. So it does not mean that this is the it's not valid anymore. It is just the first step that has been noted there. Then one more thing is that since the election has been postponed, so whatever judgment has been given there, it does not benefit the petitioner.
Okay.
Because the election has been postponed and now the House has to be placed in this same proposal. Since it is already passed by the executive committee, it can be placed in the House.
All right. So we will come to Rule 128 and discuss about it in detail. We will also talk a little bit about why the election has been postponed and will have repercussions, etc., etc. But I want to go first to Bakinta and ask him because the former MLA and MDC, Mr. Mominin, has described the notification as unconstitutional. That's A. We have the other former MDC, Mr. Sofiur Rahman, who also said that it's totally by force. In your opinion, do you think that that notification that was issued by the Executive Committee of the GHADC was in any way unconstitutional?
To my mind, I think we have missed the woods for the trees. In fact, the 6th schedule have been brought into existence for the interests, the rights and the benefits of the tribal people of Meghalaya, with the exception of 3 wards and cantonment. Now, when the entire exercise which have been interpreted insofar 128 clause 2 is concerned of the rules, I feel to my mind there is a wrong interpretation. I feel that the CM, I mean the District Council of Garo Hills, should not have issued that notification at all, because when we look at the scheme of the 6th schedule, it is purely for the tribal peoples. Non-tribal have got no business in the welfares and interests or the business of the tribal people. So far District Council is concerned. I feel to my mind that in the past, in the same here, Khasi Janta Hills in the past, some non-tribal have contested the election from this side. But so far Garo Hills is concerned, I feel that it is a completely wrong idea to allow non-tribals to vote as well as to allow them to contest. To my mind, they have got their own personal law. So far, the concerned person you have quoted just now, he is governed by his own personal law. We have got our own tribal laws, our own customs. So far land is concerned, inheritance is concerned. I'm saying that non-tribal have got no business to be allowed to contest election in the district council. And to my mind, it is the returning officer who should reject the nomination paper. And I feel that the state government also is playing hide and seek. It should have given a correct interpretation that 128 of the ED rules is nothing. It's not a special law. You cannot give a pedantic reading of the ED rules, because that is a byproduct of the scheme of the sixth schedule. It is nothing. It's not a special law. It is how to carry forward the scheme of the sixth schedule. The ED rules have come forward. There are so many rules also, because you have given a wide interpretation of clause 2 of article of rule 128. Now non-tribals have jumped in. To my mind, from here onwards, we should not allow non-tribals to take part in district council elections, or even to be a voters.
All right, fair enough. The government is playing hide and seek, but let me put it on record here that non-tribals have been participating in the GHADC elections, if I'm not mistaken, way back from 1952, if I'm not mistaken. But let me come to Basandram at the moment, because you've raised several issues in the context of alleged settlement of Bangladeshi immigrants in the Garo Hills. You've also expressed concerns about widespread illegal infiltration from Bangladesh through the porous border, of course, between India and Bangladesh. Do you still believe that conducting the special intensive revision would expose what you just described as uncomfortable reality?
It is a fact that from our side, COMSO as well as HYC, we have been raising about the issue of illegal infiltration time and again. About the issue of SIR also, we have written to the concerned authority. And last week, we were informed by some of our friends, in one particular constituency in Garo Hills, it's either Phulbari or Rajabala, we got the electoral roll, and from that electoral roll, we found out that in one household, there are 108 members enrolled in the EPIC. So can you imagine, in one house, you have 108 members who are enrolled in the EPIC, and not counting the children or other, which means in one household there are about 200 of 250 houses members are staying. So this create a doubt about the identity of these people, whether they are really Indian citizens or not, whether they are really the citizen of Meghalaya, or they are dual voters, or they are resident of other country but then comes and enroll here and get the benefit of voting and all the rights that we get. So on that background, we are hell-bent to say that SIR should be conducted, so that we know who are the genuine people who are staying in the plain belt area. In that way, we can separate the genuine one and the non-genuine one. That's why we are saying that SIR should be conducted in the plain
So would you
belt.
say that the tribal-owned land in Garo Hills have been encroached by, let's say, outsiders?
Yes. See, if you remember that the incident that happened, the death of Dilseng M. Sangma, one of the activists of Aceh, why did he die? The members of Aceh went to that area to check the illegal mining that is taking place in that area. And we know for a fact that the land belongs to the Aking. It belongs to the Garo people. So these people are illegally mining in that area. They are illegally encroaching upon the land of the Garo people. So the illegality has been going on for the last, 15, 20, 50 years. And this has happened because the people in power are hand in gloves with these people.
All right, fair enough. Basim, the GHADC, unlike the councils in the KHADC and the GHADC, like I mentioned earlier, we've had non-tribals participating, whether contesting or voting in the elections. And of course, if you look at it, this participation has always been opposed either by NGOs or activists. But then, according to my research, there are no constitutional or legal reasons for such opposition except for the fact that the ADCs are meant to protect the rights of the tribals. Please remind our viewers, in the first place, why do we have autonomous district councils? And do you think that non-tribals should contest or vote in any of the ADCs?
See, from my point of view, why we have autonomous district councils? The main objective is to protect the interests and the right of the tribal people. Being the former CM, I will speak from a sectional point of view. As per Para 20, land within the Khasi and Ganti Hill District Council and Garo Hills District Councils, it has not been defined as revenue land. It is not defined as general for all people in the state. It is very clear that it is the tribal area. When I say tribal area, I think all of us, we should understand. It means only for the tribal people. As per paragraph 2, C and D. Paragraph 2 is very clear, mentioning that the district council can make rules how to qualify for voting, qualify for being elected. They make rules on 128. In fact, those who architect the rules during that time, they should have looked at the Para 20, which clearly defined that it's only tribal area. In fact, no need to mention the other central act in the sixth provision, because it has already mandated for the right of the tribal people. So my point is, I will not say anything outside the provision of the sixth. Wrongly, 128, it has not protect the right of the tribal people. That's why this Garo Hills problem now. Even the notification notified by the executive committee is not as per the 128 rules. We need to be amended, make it mandatory that cell type should be produced during filing the nomination. So, in fact, from my point of view, we should not only look at the 128 rules. We should also look at the Article 2442. It is very clear that the provision of the sixth bill shall apply to the different area in Meghalaya as mentioned in Part A, Garo Hills and United Khasi and Ganti Hill during that time. So, in fact, the District Council notification also had some related with the provision of the sixth bill. So I think it's very high time for the District Council of Garo Hills to come with an amendment so that to make it mandatory. But my point is, if it is a tribal area, anyone can be a permanent resident. If it is the area only for the tribal people, can anyone be a permanent?
You've raised this issue in 2017 when you were, during your tenure as the CM of the KHEDC, but we'll come into that later because nobody followed up after that. We'll come into that. But I'll come to Pasa at the moment. Non-tribals can contest the GHADC elections. Explain to our viewers, how can one justify the participation of non-tribals when the district councils in the first place are meant to protect the interests of the non-tribals? That means you have to look at how they deliberate and how they work, etc., etc. So how do we justify the participation of non-tribals in any of the district councils?
Actually, as quoted before, the sixth schedule, in a very simple term, is a governance, is a local governance of the tribal, for the tribal and by the tribal. We cannot have two minds on that. So the question, is it justified or not? Of course it's not justified. But the problem is that it is the district council that have been justifying that for quite so long. You see, a few moments ago you were saying that in the past, especially in Garo Hills, the non-tribals were voting. They contested election and in fact they won also. So we cannot bluntly say because they voted for so long, we will allow them now. Therefore, right from 2014, after in Garo Hills election, one of the elected members was a non-Garo. And I think he's the same person who's quoted as a case in this clash in the Garo Hills. Immediately we have gone through the AD rules. And when we saw the AD rules, we were fearful because the provision of the AD rules of the district council allowed the non-tribal to participate in the district council election. Therefore, from that time, I think Basim also, ASEAN will remember, 2014 we have met 3-4 times, Basim requesting. Then from the level of the state youth wing of Kham. Then after that, we thought we should take it up from a higher. Then we took it from the Central Executive Committee of the party. Met again 2 or 3 times. And the last time that we met with the ex-CM, Basim, was that the district council will constitute an expert committee, a legal body, to study into the provision of the possibility to amend the 128 AD rules. And after that, of course, election came, then EC changed, then we didn't stop at that point. We met all the CM that has come and taken that office with the same request. And therefore, as long as we don't amend the rule, it will always pave way, give opportunity to the non-tribal. What the Honorable High Court has done, it is as per the provision of the AD rule. It's nothing beside AD rule, because the AD rule has not made it mandated that scheduled tribe certificate is required. Or the AD rule has not mandated that only a tribal can contest or can vote. Therefore, asking for scheduled tribe, of course, it is obviously the Honorable High Court will not accept that. So it's very important for everyone to understand. Now, this is all subject of the district council. Unless and until the district council don't do anything about this, nobody can do it.
Okay. So allow me to drift the topic a little bit and go to Mr. Marak, because Mr. Marak, I want to remind you of the threatening poster allegedly from the terror outfit ISIS-K, if you remember, in late January. The poster had warned and asked the indigenous Garo people to vacate certain lands before 2027. Do you see that as a sign of an impending outcome that the government should have prioritized in the first place and pay more heed? Do you see any connection between that poster, actually a threatening poster, if you will, with the ongoing situation in the Garo Hills? Mr. Marak.
Yes, it is possible that there is a connection, because these people individuals have been screening of in the social media. And some have even commented that they will supply arms for this movement, for the non-tribal from the plan. So, and after that, there has been certain incidents where the government has actually, like the security forces have actually had some people from Bangladesh. Then today, we came to know that in one of the in Meghalaya, it was actually vandalized. They have found some ammunition and chemicals. So there seems to be, this may be some stray incident, and I would also like to cite when that late Johnson was actually killed at Stone Quarry, there was a firing there. That is not known. People who heard it have been saying that there was firing, and after that, then there was an incident in Kittanang area. There were some firings there also. So it's very unpredictable, but it is there is a possibility. There is external forces are supporting the people. So then come this poster of ICK actually threatening the Garos. So we have taken it very seriously, and we have also reached the Uniform Minister to have a thorough investigation on that. And I think there have to be some instructions from the Commission, because there seem to be some forces which strengthening them, helping them, and which is actually encouraging them to fight and to claim their rights in a tribal area like Nairobi.
Okay. So I'll come back to Akinta because I want to know it from you. Does the GHADC Executive Committee has the power to defranchise legitimate non-tribals via an executive order? Because according to a senior advocate, K. Paul, he said that any change must follow Rule 72, that is, the executive committee must draft the rules, and then we have the district councils to confirm them, and then the governor has to give his assent, obviously.
According to me, I feel that notification was not necessary, as I've indicated earlier. The entire scheme of the 6th schedule is for the welfare of the tribal people. Where is the question of non-tribal coming into the picture? Now, when you're reading the proviso to Rule 128, you have to read in terms of tribals and other permanent residents. And again, I say that I could be a permanent resident not having a scheduled tribe certificate. When it says other residents not having a scheduled tribe, it means people like me, tribal people. It refers to tribal people. I say that the executive committee of Garo Hills should not have issued that notification at all, and the question and the idea that it should be amended doesn't arise. As I have said earlier, AD rules is nothing but a byproduct of to carry out the scheme of the 6th schedule. When the scheme of the 6th schedule is for the tribal, then non-tribal have no business. You have to read together the AD rules along with the scheme of the 6th schedule. You cannot read in isolation. If you read in isolation, then anybody from living anywhere in the country who comes and reside here will be a voter and can contest election. That will defeat the very scheme of the 6th schedule.
Okay. So before I come to Basindram, I want to go to Pasa once again, because on March 10th you submitted a memorandum to the KHADC CM seeking an amendment to Rule 128, that's 1 and 2, to restrict participation in KHADC elections solely to members of the indigenous Khasi community. Why the need? Give us a little bit of context.
So that is actually the need of the hour, because in the past such initiative has not been taken up. That's why the incident happened in Garo Hills. So what we have written for the past many years, and with the current EC also, we have requested the EC to simply amend the AD rule. Like Bak Kantar said, it has to go with the spirit of the 6th schedule. You can divert from that. So if the 6th schedule is for the benefit, for the welfare of the tribal, then the AD rule also should be for the welfare of the tribal only. It cannot be set aside. Therefore, we have requested, because if we go to the 128 AD rule, the problem is at 128 para 3, subpara 3, which clearly states that in case of non-tribal are not allowed to contest election unless he is a permanent resident. That is the exact word. And this rule define what is the meaning of the permanent resident. The rule said a permanent resident is that person who had stayed in the district for more than 12 years. What we believe is that for any person who have stayed here for 100 years also, if he is not an indigenous tribe, he should not be allowed to vote. Exactly. Does not matter how long you stay. So therefore, what we need to do is now amend the para 128 subpara 1 and delete the subpara 3. I think then only the problem will be solved. Like I said, if these things are not done, then this problem will arise in the future also.
Okay. Basindram, FKJJP President Dundee Cliff Kongsit indirectly blamed Mominin for escalating tensions, alleging that his nomination filing must have, hurt indigenous sentiments. Do you reckon that move fueled the agitation, and should Mominin be the only one who's responsible for tension in the Garo Hills?
It's not only about Mominin. There's other persons, Sophia Rahman, there's Inamul Haq. These are the main people. In fact, it is, I would say that the blame should be put to Mominin because he is provocating. It is his act of provocation that led to this incident that has happened. Had he not filed the nomination, these incidents would not have happened in Garo Hills. It's because of his provocation. It is because he gave the sparks. The fire was, somebody lit the fire in Garo Hills. In fact, our non-tribals, I wouldn't say a community, I'm saying the non-tribal should understand, as was saying by Sir, by all the senior here, the district council was given for us, for the protection of the indigenous rights, our land, our culture. So the non-tribals have no right to be part of that institution which is given solely for the, for the indigenous people of the state of Meghalaya. In fact, they should not have even take, a step to be part of that process. If you look at Khasi and Jaintia Hills, see, if we go by the law, even in Khasi and Jaintia Hills also the non-tribal could have participated. Because Rule 128, as we were discussing, Rule 128 speaks about adult franchise. It doesn't say only tribals. But if we go to the spirit of the 6th schedule, it means that, for us, for the tribals. So these non-tribals, they should not have, make an effort to be part of the system of the institution that is meant specifically for the tribal people. How do these non-tribal understand the land holding rights of the tribal people? Will they understand our customary rights? Will they understand our inheritance, the practices? Because the district council is meant for, for making laws regarding marriages, regarding land rights, regarding inheritance. So do we expect the non-tribal to understand our customary law? Then what is his purpose to go and sit in the district council? They should have also understand that, the very purpose of the district council.
Okay. So Basim, like I mentioned earlier, in February 2017, the 3 ADCs had jointly decided to seek legal opinion on the proposed amendment during your tenure. Despite the initial steps, why didn't we see any follow-up?
In fact, I'm not wrong. During my time, we had constituted a committee, not only to amend specifically the Rules 128. The whole Assam and Meghalaya Constitution of District Council Rules 1951 need to be amended. So if I am not wrong, we are in the final stage to discuss in the House and send to the Governor for assent and to become a rules. But I think you understand that to amend the whole AD rules, we have to look in all the rules, because I think, this AD rule has come a long time back that it needs to be amended. So I think during that time, that's why the committee took time to finish this draft amendment. So I think the present EC can take up this matter and finish this amendment of the AD rules.
Okay. Mr. Marak, let me come to you, because the presence of illegal immigrants is not like a new thing anymore. It is a reality as we speak, and illegal immigrants indeed are a threat to national security. That's one. So what is the primary fuel? I would like to call this a silent invasion. Is it vote banks? Is it something called political greed?
I cannot hear you. It's very noisy. There is some kind of this one interference. Can you say it again?
All right, I think we have a technical glitch there. We will get back to Mr. Marak, but for the moment, let me go back to Bakinta. The Deputy Chief Minister in charge, District Council Affairs, Prestun Tinsong, had said that Meghalaya government cannot be blamed for the recent violence in the Garo Hills region, stating that the matter primarily concerns the functioning and decisions of the GHADC, which of course operates independently. So my question to you, where does the buck ultimately stops?
First and foremost, before answering your question, I would like to say that in Garo Hills, there are non-tribal voters. There are electors, they have contested elections also. What I'm trying to say is that two wrong cannot make a right. So if there's a wrong, it has to be corrected. Now when it comes to Khasi Jaintia, you'll find that here you don't get the non-tribals in meddling into the affairs of Jaintia Hills Autonomous District Council or into the affairs of the Khasi Hills Autonomous District Council. I have to say thank you to the non-tribal of Khasi and Jaintia Hills that you are not meddling into our affairs, our interests. And I know that even if you come, there is no question of you making laws or passing laws in terms of Para 3 to the 6th schedule. There are different subjects. There are so many regarding social custom, inheritance. I say thank you to the non-tribals of Khasi and Jaintia Hills for not meddling into the interests of the district council here. When it comes to the question that you have put, whether the state government
should take responsibility or not,
has stoked the fire for such occurrences in Garo Hills. I'll say that the state government is very much in the wrong. They should have taken note of this fact. They should because when it comes to conduct of election, it is not a district council who hold the election or who conduct the election. It is a state election machinery who does that. And I feel that it is the state election machinery who should correct this anomaly in Garo Hills. So far, Khasia and Jaintia Hill, I'll say thank you. You are not doing things which will harm our interest. So far, Garo Hills is interest. I cry with those brothers from Garo Hills. I pray for the departed souls. Their life have been lost just because of the stupidity of the state government. You have stoked the fire. And I say that your stand in the High Court also is not okay. I'm not happy. You should have instead internally recalled that notification, because district council, Garo Hills district council, whatever order they pass, they can always recall internally and resolve the issue. You have allowed the matter to go to the High Court, and then in the High Court, then you take a different stand that it has to be and it has to be placed in the house, etc., etc. And again, I say that it was not necessary to amend, because the entire concept of the sixth schedule is for the tribal people, and you cannot enlarge the meaning of Rule 128 and the proviso therein. I feel that the state government is committing wrong. All along you are having that delusional, nothing will go wrong. Later then fear of God comes in the picture. I feel that you are in the wrong.
Okay.
You should not sleep over this.
Basandrem, yeah.
So is saying, I would not mince my word to say that it is because of this politician, the political party, that this thing has happened.
Politics.
See, it's all because of the vote bank politics. These people, the non-tribals, they are a vote bank of a particular party.
Okay.
You know, there are certain parties who are, you know, trying to woo them as voters so that they can get the power. It is because of this that no particular party will take a hard decision to hurt their feelings. That is why for the last 70 years, since 1951 till 2026, why nobody has looked into this anomaly that the non-tribals have been able to take part in the election process. It's because these people have been the vote bank for a particular party. Say in the, why do I mince my word? It's because of the Congress who has been ruling the state for the last how many years. Now the NPP is still playing the same politics with these people. They don't want to hurt their feelings. They know that it is wrong. That's why, as Sir was saying, the advocate of the government of Meghalaya, when he stand before the court regarding this case, he was siding with the petitioner, not with the district council. The district councils, which is led by the party in power at the state. Okay. I mean, they should have done something, say something to protect the interests of the JDC. But then he said, no, the JDC, the executive committee is wrong. So this shows that, you know, the people who are there, even the present regime or the government, they always think about politics. They being benefiting from this. They don't think about the Achik people or the Garo people.
Okay, we'll come to that, because I'll come back to you, Basandrem. For now, I think the producers have informed me that we have Mr. Marak back with us. Mr. Marak, I asked you earlier that illegal immigrants, and this issue is not new anymore, it is a reality, and illegal immigrants are indeed a threat to national security. What is the primary fuel to this, I'd like to call it that silent invasion? Is it political greed? Is it vote bank?
It is both, actually. And it started in 1971. East Pakistan was actually cut out from India. And like Prime Minister Indira Gandhi ji, he has promised equal rights to people who migrate to India. So these people have actually come in their areas. And when they settled there, actually, there is no constitutional provision to give them land. So what they did is they have adopted the schedule provision, unlike Kasi and Garo Hills, and they have started to issue this periodically for 24 years. Now, when we get all the facilities, in spite of being in this area, these people have been bringing their relatives one after the other, and they easily get all the documents, other election cards, everything is being facilitated by the political parties. So this has been growing for decades. But now we found that these people, they are not only residing here, but they want to take over the land rights. They want to be, they want to elect, they want to contest, they want to come out of the system from which we are supposed to be safeguarded. The tribals in the scheduled area are supposed to be safeguarded from these general classes. But this has been party, and they have actually safeguarded them for their own political benefits. At the same time, it is actually affecting the tribal population in Garo Hills. That's why it has become a right for the people of Garo Hills to raise this issue, because the reserves are open
All right.
to people to contest. Yes. So that's why this by the executive committee and the people, the right decision and the right time they have actually become aware, and people know, and people are actually understand that untribal should not in the
All right, Mr. Mar, I'll come back to you in a minute. I want to go back to Basin Rem, because at a public meeting organized by COMSO just on Wednesday, you said, and I quote, "Why Conrad Sangma postponed the GHADC elections? Because he knows the Aceh people will not vote for the NPP in the GHADC elections. The decision is to fool the Aceh people." I was looking at some of the comments. Some felt that your speech or statement was provocative. It did not reflect facts on the ground. Do you think that your statement, in whatever way, have been politicized, and has it politicized the issue? Could you clarify it for the audience?
See, as a chairman of COMSO, I have been touring Garo Hills. I was there during the first meeting that was called by a conglomeration of NGOs in Garo Hills in the month of February. Last week of this month also, I was in Ampati. I met a lot of my friends, and I know the sentiments of the people. Every person that I met is like, we look at Mr. Conrad Sangma as a leader. For the last 8 years, he has been in power. See, this problem has been there for the last how many years? Could he have not known that there is this problem that he should have solved in the last 8 years? Why had he left that till this moment? That's why I made that statement saying that, the Garo Hills is burning. There is anti-incumbency against the NPP, against Conrad Sangma. That's why I said maybe for him, if he goes into the election right now, he might not win the number of seats that he expects to win. That is on that pretext, on that context, I made that statement that Mr. Conrad Sangma knows or understand the ground reality. We see Mr. Conrad Sangma, what did he say? He said that the mob are, gathering to even attack or to do whatever to his house. So the sentiment is there against him. In that context, I made that statement. It's not being political. Of course, we are not from any political party. We are not benefiting anything from this statement. But what I was saying is that in the last 2 or 3 months, I've been in Garo Hills, and I understand the sentiments of the people, how they feel and what they feel towards the leaders, that they are supposed to help them. They are supposed to find a way how to correct the wrong that has been happening for the last 50 or 60 years. So for the last 8 years, Mr. Conrad Sangma is there, still there as the chief minister. His party is leading the EC in GHADC. His party is leading the government in the state. So why didn't they see this problem that is happening in the GHADC for the last 20 years?
Okay. Basim, again, President of the Jaintia National Council, Sambor Milingdo, said if illegal migrants are able to challenge local communities during the election period, it means the system that is supposed to protect the people has already collapsed. Are we seeing a total failure of leadership and accountability if we look at the GHADC in particular?
See, the failure is not only the district council rules. I will say that during each and every election, there should be a revision on the electoral of the district councils. In fact, the state government through the State Election Commission, they should have been do the special intensive revision as adopted by the Election Commission of India, so that all those names which are not the tribal people should be deleted. Once it is deleted in the revised electoral, as per paragraph 8, or as per rules 8, is very clear. A person to be the contestant, he should be entitled as the voter. Once we do the revision on the electoral roll, and all the names of the non-tribal has been deleted as it has been done and practiced in Garo Hills and Jainti Hills, then there will be no problem in Garo Hills also. The point is because their names are still there very much in the electoral roll. So I think we should not only depend on the rules 128. We should also look at the electoral roll. Because once we are deleted from the electoral roll, then let them challenge under Rule 128 against why we are deleted in the electoral roll. So I think the state government, it is very high time to ask the State Election Commission to do some special intercept revision. So those who are very doubtful, those who are not genuinely as per para 128.
So you remove them from the electoral rules.
So that it cannot be contested.
Okay. Mr. Kinta, these are not my words. Some opine that non-ST citizens of the state, like I said, these are not my words, are taxpayers, and they too have to follow the district council rules when it comes to commercial transactions. The non-STs, right? Non-scheduled tribes. They still have to follow commercial transactions, which are rules, of course, of the district council. Then they should also have voting rights. And if there are non-tribal voters, then there should be non-tribal representation in the district councils to protect their rights. Do you subscribe to that notion?
I absolutely disagree with that suggestion, because to my mind, the non-tribals who are trading within the autonomous district council, within the Jaintia Hills or within the Garo Hills, the non-tribals who are doing business or trading, they must have a trading license. Just because they are having a trading license, then you should have all these benefits also. This it's not correct. Now when you go to other plain areas, you must have license, municipal license. There are so many licenses. I've got a house in Guwahati and I have to pay so many taxes, whereas this is not so. Here you have to pay only the trading license fee. You have to have a trading license to do business here. Now, so far professional tax is concerned, that is again the source, is the Constitution of India. And every citizen of this country must pay professional tax, and the maximum limit is 2,500 per annum.
Right.
But here we Khasis also have to pay. The minimum is 50 rupees. Doesn't mean that just because we are paying the professional tax, which is the source from the Constitution of India, we have to be part and parcel of the law-making powers of the district council. I disagree. I feel that so far district council in Garo Hills is concerned, my friend Basim is suggesting there should be special intensive revision. I will tell you that I totally disagree. I feel that all those non-tribal voters appearing in the voter list in Garo Hills Autonomous District Council, they should be stripped off, take them off. Only the genuine tribals, indigenous tribals who don't have scheduled tribe, and the scheduled tribe of Meghalaya. Even I can be a local resident, I also can contest election in Garo Hills. So far we are concerned, we are entitled to do that. But so far non-tribal is concerned, their name should be struck off right away without much ado.
Basan, would you like to add on to what he
I agree with what Sir is saying. See, and what Sir CM is saying, it's that in Khasi and Jaintia Hills we have a separate electoral rule for KHDC election and in GHDC election. Then why in Garo Hills we don't have that separate electoral rule? Had there been a separate electoral rule, automatically the name of all the non-tribals would have been struck down from the electoral rule. We'll have only the indigenous tribal, taking part in the election process. So we need a government. We need an EC who will take such a bold decision from here forward. We cannot afford to have another war in Garo Hills. We cannot have another bloodshed in Garo Hills. And we know that if this continues, if this issue continues in the next few days or in the days to come, there will be bloodshed in Garo Hills. Because the indigenous people of Garo Hills, the Achik people, have had enough of this. We know the threat of immigration. We know the threat of these people who are coming from across the border, who are not even. I'm saying I will say that they are not even the genuine resident of Meghalaya. So the threat is there. Encroachment is there. Illegal mining is there. Most of these people along the plain belt of Garo Hills, I learned that they earn through illegal mining of stones, supplying them to Bangladesh or to any other construction sites. And I understand the frustration of the Achik people. So I urge, Bernard is the MDC in JHDC, and then we have the government. I urge them that let's take a strong decision once and for all to clear this doubt, so that only the tribals should be able to take part in the electoral process in JHDC.
All right, so before I go back to Mr. Marak, I want to go to Pasa again, because the current situation in the Garo Hills highlight the need to strengthen the legal framework governing the district councils. That's first. Do you believe that the VPP-led executive committee in the KHADC at the minute would recognize the urgency to bring in the amendments, considering the fact that there were initial steps that have been taken earlier, like what Bas Aim had done in his tenure? Even if they did, how easy or difficult would that process be to bring the amendment and implement it in letter and spirit?
Okay. See, for past 5 to 6 years, we have been talking about the electoral roll. Now we have to understand a very legal fact. An electoral roll is an extract, a product of the 12880 rule. Now, in Garo Hills, there are names of non-tribal voters. And in Khasi and Jaintia, the non-tribal voters don't have the name in the electoral roll. But now, if somebody challenges this in the court of law, even in Khasi Jaintia, there will be name of non-tribal. So now we are discussing about a legal framework. How do we legally protect it so that our argument will stand by in the court of law?
All right.
So anything that now, if the Garo Hills District Council will choose to just delete away all the names of the non-tribal voters without amending the 12880 rule, then again it is challengeable in the court of law. Then the judgment will come in favor of the non-tribal again. So the electoral roll and the 12880 rule is connected with each other. It is not isolated. And number 2 point, like I've mentioned before, in the 2014, 15, 16, we have met Basiem as CM, and it's a very good thing that we have, the EC have taken up a decision to amend the whole ED rule. Now, I was just thinking, if the EC would have taken a decision, okay, let us now amend 128 first, because the whole ED rule might take a long time. So maybe we would have had a legal protection on our legal voting system in the district council, and maybe if that happened at that point of time, maybe the Garo Hills also would follow the same line, and maybe this incident would not have happened. Now, coming to your question, in the month of April 2026, we have gone to the office of the CM, just as we have done in the past also. When we went on that day, we have tried to talk in length and breadth about the possibility of amending the 128 rule. And we went with a hope. Of course, we went with hope, with a possibility that this time it would happen. But we waited, we didn't get any communication.
Okay.
Then after the CM was changed, then we again sent a correspondence to the new CM with the same request, and we were not informed, we were not communicated on what are the progress. Now hope has come because of the incident that happened in Garo Hills.
Fair enough. Okay.
Now this could be one hope that maybe the legislators now would take this up seriously.
Okay, the hope is there.
But I
Basim.
think, yes, but I think from my point of view, when it is amended, it will not be applied to Garo Hills district councils, because if we amend in the Khasi Autonomous District Council, it will become a Khasi Autonomous District Council amendment. So it will apply only for Khasi Hills.
Okay.
So what we need is Garo Hills, Jaintia Hills, and Khas Hills, simultaneously, they should bring an amendment so that it be uniform.
Understood. Yeah. So what we'll do, I don't have time at all, but before I give all of you 30 seconds for your closing comments, I want to go to Mr. Marak first. And this is a question that I want you to answer because, Assam and Meghalaya are currently utilizing different strategies to address illegal immigrants. The Assam is taking a way more proactive stand, if you will. And Meghalaya is taking, in my opinion, a little bit of a softer stance. In your opinion, do you think that the Conrad Sangma-led government should rethink its strategy when it comes to illegal immigrants?
Yes, actually, Conrad Sangma government should take very strong stand against these illegal immigrants because in a couple of years, the population in the planned area have actually rose very high. And it's actually a threat to the tribal population. And if this is not checked now, it will actually overtake the entire plan area and they will come over to the hill area. So it is very important that strict action is taken. And as one of our guests have actually said, FIR has to be introduced, and we are expecting state government to take it up very seriously because this will balance population in the plan areas and the threat which is posing in the plan areas to the tribal population.
All right, like I said, I don't have time, but I'll give my guest here in the studio 30 seconds to give their closing comments, and then we will end the program. And I'll begin with Bakinta.
Since my colleague here are insisting of amending the provision of 128 of the rule of the AD rules, I feel that the EC and KHDC as well as Jaintia Hills Autonomous District Council, so also the Garo Hills, they must bring an explanation after the sub Rule 2 of Rule 128. Bring an explanation that this rule is in connection, is referring to tribals only, not to non-tribals. That clear indication. And forget the word non-tribal. Let them bring an explanation to that provision. Maybe after the first proviso of 128, an explanation saying that this rule refers only to tribals of Meghalaya. That will solve the issue. And so far, the Pandora box which is open up in the Garo Hills, it is very sad. Now it's affecting us. And now if we go into the system of bringing an amendment, then we are trying to say that yes, the non-tribals have a right. I think I disagree with that. I feel that from here onwards, the Garo Hills, we should take an interest on Garo Hills also. We should not neglect Garo Hills. We the Khasi Jantia here, we just cannot say Jo hoga, it will not happen. We also have to take an interest with our Garo brothers and sisters. Thank you.
I'll move on to you, Sindram.
Yeah. So I also feel that, we cannot neglect whatever is happening in Garo Hills, because whatever that is happening in Garo Hills, ultimately it will affect us also in the Khasi and Jaintia Hills. Because at the end of the day, these illegal immigrants will move to Garo Hills, get proper documents, then move to Khasi and Jaintia Hills and get settled here. So that will be a big problem for us. That is point number one. So steps should be taken to check illegal immigration into the plain belt area of Garo Hills. And regarding the election to the GHADC, I think it is high time that the Garo people should stand with one purpose, that non-tribal should not be able to take part in the election process to the GHADC. And to Mr. Conrad Sangma and his government, I urge that you still have the time, you still have 2 more years to correct the mistake that has been done for the last 50 or 60 years.
Okay. Basim, let's hear your closing comments.
Okay. From me, I just want to conclude that it is very high time, as mandated in the 6th schedule of the Constitution of India, that all 3 district councils should bring into legislation not only on this present incident at Garo Hills, in many issues to protect the right of the tribal people. That is my only message.
Okay, thank you. Bapasa.
Okay, from my side, just one point only. You see, in the year 2002, the Chakama Autonomous District Council amended the AD rule, and before the election 2018, they struck down all the non-tribal names from the electoral roll because they amended the rule. Then if you see in the Lai Autonomous District Council Rule 2010, in the section 9, they have clearly stated that for a person to be able to contest election has to be an indigenous tribe of the Lai community. So these are the laws that are required. Now, the DCA minister also, in one of the news clipping, he has insisted on the special session. So I think it is time that for all the 3 district council, taking into consideration the current situation and the topic about district council is going around, all the 3 district council should call for a special session, amend the AD rule, get the assent of the governor, and maybe that will be a good protection for the district council, for all the 3 district council in the state. Because the question now is that it's not who is right, who is wrong. It is what is right and what is wrong. And we need to understand that.
All right, so viewers, you've heard it from all our panelists this evening and their views. And in conclusion, the unresolved status of Rule 128 remains a core grievance, with recent events in Garo Hills underscoring how the delay in addressing it continues to stoke tensions over identity, representation and governance in the autonomous districts. Meghalaya's problem has been the absence of pragmatic, visionary leaders who should have addressed these issues at the time they were included in the rules through proper procedural methods. The future of Meghalaya depends on the balance between modern administrative needs and the preservation of ancestral traditions. Protecting the autonomy of the Khasi, Jaintia and Garo people involves more than just policy. It requires a collective respect for the unique cultural landscape of the region. For now, I'd like to thank all my guests here in the studio, VGK Kinta, Thomas Pasa, Roy Kupar Sinrem, PNSAIM, and of course, I'd also like to thank our guests from Tura, Mr. Bernard N. Marak, and a special thank you to all of you watching us at home. Until our next episode, goodbye.
that is prevailing in Garo Hills right now, and keeping the sentiments of the people